then I listened to the afterword again and the acknowledgments and everything. And Brandon Sanderson himself reads them.
Oh, okay.
And this guy is just the most likable guy in the world.
Welcome to Proofread, a podcast to help you read more of what you love and less of what you don't.
Okay, welcome back, listeners. Here we are once again aboard the good ship Proofread, right? And it is a ship this time because we're going on a journey, the book that goes on a journey. But before we get there, let us introduce your passengers for this journey together. I'm really getting into this metaphor here.
Yeah, keep going.
Keep going with the metaphor. Captain with me here is Kacy. Kacy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi there, I'm Kacy, and I love to read.
I'm Tyler, and I like to read as well. Kacy said love, and I said like. Do you think you love reading more than I love reading?
Yes.
You do? Why?
I just think I have more time to read right now, so
Yeah,
I'm
that's
super into it.
Kacy's making use of all the time the credit she's built up to have time to read. I am not. My fun fact for this week is that my oldest just turned 12. So
Wow.
that is the oldest of the family. We just that was wild for me. You know?
Wow.
I know. 12 feels like a real. I don't know why it's not that much different than 11 or 13.
It's a milestone.
It's a milestone.
You're almost to the teens.
Yeah, but she's the best.
Well, congrats.
Okay, so the book we're reading for today is called Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to admit I'm a little self-conscious with the intro here because I don't know if I have ever talked to anybody who knows less about Brandon Sanderson than me. Yeah, so it might be you. It might be, today might be
I
the
was just
first
raising
time.
my hand.
Both Kacy and I both teach a lot of students. And Kacy, do your students, are they interested in Brandon Sanderson?
Yes.
Yeah.
People love Brandon Sanderson, and his fans are so nice and awesome and cool. I want to be one of them. I think maybe I am becoming one of them.
So Brandon Sanderson is a fantasy writer. He's been writing for some time. He is famous for the Mistborn trilogy.
Yes.
There's the Stormlight archives.
Yes, and the thing that makes I guess I do know a little bit about Brandon Sanderson, although this is the only book of his that I have read.
Okay.
Is that there's another big thing called Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
And everybody's super into that. I also have not read that. But when that author died, who did they have finish it? Brandon Sanderson. So I'm impressed by that.
But he's been just one of the big names in fantasy for a long time here, it seems like the last few years. This book is interesting because it came out of like a secret COVID project that he was doing, I read about on the internet. But apparently he wrote a couple books in secret. He said he was writing this one specifically for just him and his wife were like the only ones who read it. And then he ended up releasing it as part of a Kickstarter campaign that was like the most successful Kickstarter ever.
Yeah.
It's multiple millions of dollars that it raised. Anyways, that is kind of the history of this book. I'll say that this is a book that gets recommended. I think I've heard it recommended a couple times because it's not part of it's a standalone novel.
It's a standalone. People have recommended it to me. They're like, well, if you couldn't get into Mistborn, try Tress of the Emeralds.
Yeah, that's the premise for it. Is a lot of these other ones are connected. I know he has like a whole world that's like a Cosmere universe. It can sometimes feel daunting to pick up a book that's part of like a 12 series or a sub-series of these other connections. That's not something I'm looking to take on. But a ton of the students that I work with are really interested and kind of think of Brandon Sanderson as someone that they want to write and be like. So I think this book technically takes place in that universe, but you don't really need to know anything about it for the book to make sense. Or at least I didn't know anything about it and the book made sense to me.
Yeah, it made sense to me.
So we're going to get to, if that's enough intro, we're going to get to our segment called Reader Skip. Kacy, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Read? Did you change at the last minute? You did. You were going to say skip.
I did not say
your
skip.
Your mouth changed.
No, I think that this is a big, it depends for me.
Yeah, I want to say read out loud to your kids. But what made me go from thinking, because this is on me, I'm just not a big fantasy person.
Sure.
I know he's the king. I give him respect. But I was kind of like, ugh, I don't know, maybe I don't like fantasy. I somehow skipped ahead because I was looking to see how many pages there were. It's true. And I came to the PS. There's a little PS.
Oh, yeah.
Like acknowledgments. And I just started reading it because Brandon Sanderson's voice is so compelling. And he said, And this had reminded me of The Princess Bride.
I thought the same thing.
And I used to read The Princess Bride. You've seen the movie The Princess Bride,
Yeah.
and I know you haven't read it.
I want to do the read. We should read The Princess Bride on the podcast.
Okay, let's read The
Yeah.
Princess Bride. I used to read it every summer when I was a kid.
Oh, you have like a lot of experience.
And yeah, so I would read it every summer. This was before the movie came out. I was like into it and I loved it. It is like The Princess Bride. And then when he said he was doing that on purpose, he said in the afterword that they read it to their kids and his wife said
They
"What if-"
watched it.
They watched it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't read it. And that his wife said, "What if Buttercup had gone after Wesley and not just sat there and waited and presumed
So your
dead?"
true love gets captured on the high seas, and instead of waiting, you go after him.
And I like that it's kind of this, this girl and she's more active and that he did that intentionally. That's another thing. I'm like, yes, I love that. Let me read this to my daughters, a hero that, and that he was doing that on purpose because I didn't like the narrator. I hated the narrator at the beginning.
Well, I totally had the exact same experience. Like the first beginning of this, I was like, similarly, like, what is this?
Who
Like,
is
what
this
are we?
weirdo?
It was hard to kind of get into, and I didn't read the postscript till the end. But reading the postscript made me appreciate the
It
book
made me
more.
too, because
'Cause I was
then
like,
you
okay,
knew
I
that
see
this
what he's
guy,
trying
his
to
name
do.
is Hoyd, and it's this goofy guy that's been cursed in these weird ways. And he's going to do a whole other story about him and where that guy comes from. Because I was like, this is like slapstick.
Yeah.
And I actually was hating it. But then when he said he did that on purpose and he had The Princess Bride, and then he said, because I don't read fantasy and I don't write. I mean, I don't write anything. So like the fiction like this, he said the other thing he had to get 3 parts, which was his world building. And once he had this idea of a place where the seas are not water, they're spores. And that once he had that, that was like a functioning world that had enough that would affect the plot. And I thought that was so fascinating because I don't know how these guys write the books.
Well,
Once I heard that that's what he was doing, and then I went back, I was like, I love this. I'm into this. He's doing this on purpose. This narrator is like this for a reason. And I tend to, because I'm not a fantasy person, I kind of skip over all the fantasy stuff because I don't care about it. But it made me appreciate it more. And I was like, this is the whole thing to him, that this could be logical in this way. This magic system is the whole thing. And that made me appreciate it
I think
more.
that's kind of like the token hallmark of like a Sanderson books. At least when I hear students talking about it, it's all about this. He's really invested in building out specific magic systems, and they explain. And he talks about there's like I looked it up, and he has like the Brandon Sanderson's like rules of magic.
Yeah, there's a logic to them.
Yeah,
and a system.
So there's a high system and a low system, and he's really interested in kind of building out the intricacies of it.
But anyway, and then the other thing about listening to it out loud, so by the time, so I read most of it, then I was listening towards the end, and I think kids would like it because there's all the kind of goofy things. But then I listened to the afterword again, and the acknowledgments and everything, and Brandon Sanderson himself reads them.
Oh, okay.
And this guy is just the most likable guy in the world. I mean, he is just so enthusiastic.
Yeah.
I mean, who listens to the acknowledgments? There's so much goodwill was garnered by him in his afterword
That it went a long way.
that
for
it
you.
went a long way.
I've heard he's a really good guy. I had 2 students who were married and ran into him at a bookstore, and they were like so excited when they came in to work. They both worked the ranks, and they're like, "We just ran into him at a bookstore and he chatted with us." And I
People
think he
love
was there like signing copies and putting them back on.
Oh, well, when I was volunteering in the prison and doing a literacy program there, they all just wanted to meet Brandon Sanderson.
All the prisoners.
Yes. They'd all read his
He needs
books.
to do like a Johnny Cash
They
concert.
loved,
in-
and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you know Brandon Sanderson?" Surprising of
And did
all
you have-
kinds
did you-
of
do you
people.
know
I
him?
don't know Brandon Sanderson, but they were of everything.
Oh, they were asking you if you knew him.
They wanted
I
to know
see.
if I knew him because I'm from Utah, I'm from where Brandon Sanderson is from, and they knew where he's from. And they were like, please, can we do a book club with Brandon Sanderson? They love Brandon Sanderson. And then the other thing about Brandon Sanderson, which you might know, which my kids had told me this, and they're not even big fantasy readers, but they had heard that Wired did a really mean
I heard about
piece
this too.
about him,
The students that I work with were
Yeah.
all talking about that when it
where
happened.
they kind of made fun of him and that he's just like this little from a small town ding-a-ling nerd with lightsabers, which he does have. But what do you expect? And Brandon Sanderson handled it with
Super
such
gracious.
grace. And
Mhm.
I looked on Reddit to see what he said because once I'd heard his voice reading the acknowledgments, I was just like, I love this guy. And he's like, guys, fans, please leave this Wired author alone. You know, he's doing his best. He's a writer just like me. And I mean, it's so nice.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about the book then. So we've got this sense of this writer has his own kind of he's like his own brand. Is that what you would say, right? Like,
Yeah.
and if this is a book that people get recommended to us as like a one-off, you're giving it a read, I'm giving it like a good read, but I didn't really have the same thought of I would have liked this book a lot more if I was I read to my wife and I take turns reading to the kids. I read to the younger one, she reads to the older two, and then we swap when we finish the longer book for the older kids. And I was like, "Oh, I wish I would have read this to them lying on the ground in their room, reading it to them at night."
I felt the same because we've read, we did all the Harry Potter, we
Yeah,
did The
same.
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe,
Same.
lots of things like that, Red Wall.
Yeah. This
And
gets slotted into there probably pretty easily.
this could be like this, and having it, it's just there's so few female protagonists that it's great. He's doing that on purpose. This is a later book. It's like 2023. And people have said that to me, like, well, if you want a female, you know, you'd probably like that better and you should read it. It's like more modern. And he's doing this on purpose without it being too, like, it's not super obvious, but it's great that she is doing her own thing and she's not saved by anybody.
But there is a sense in which he kind of is marketing this as more of an adult book, and I just didn't.
I know. I
that
was
wasn't-
surprised. I was surprised.
Like he says that in the acknowledgments. He says like
Yeah.
grown-up fairy tale, and for me,
I don't really know what's so grown up about it.
there's
that's
this.
okay.
I think agreed. I was just gonna say for me, this slots into a fun one to read aloud to the kids, but
Mhm.
the back and forth, like you're saying, like a ton of goofy dad
There's
jokes.
a lot of
in
dad
it.
jokes.
It's nice because there are some insights here that I think hit harder in the context of like, there are some things where I was like, oh, I could be reading this with my kids, and I liked that he's kind of arrived at this kind of like
Mhm.
insight. And then he kind of like can't be too serious for too long, so he goofies it up a little bit, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm like, this plays well with the kids. For me, if this wasn't on the podcast and if I wasn't reading this with my kids, I would not have finished it. I would have kind of stopped. But I'll just kind of give you a flavor of this for those readers out there that are wondering. Here's kind of one of these moments where I'm on page 231, and he gets to this. He's reflecting on one of the premises here is there's this girl that goes off to save her true love who's been kind of captured on the high seas, and she's ordinary. That's the thing. She's just totally ordinary. Could this entire world have misjudged something so common? Though it seemed unlikely to Tress, it was true, and not that surprising. People consistently misjudge common things in their lives. Other people come to mind. Tress wasn't discovering something completely unknown. Indeed, she was realizing why spores and aethers fascinated sprouters. It all had to do with fear. While a healthy measure of foolhardiness drove our ancestors towards discovery, fear kept them alive. If bravery is the wind that makes us soar like kites, fear is the string that keeps us from going too far. We need it. But the thing is, our heritage taught us to fear some of the wrong things. For example, to our ancient ancestors, strange and new people often meant new diseases, and the occasional spear tossed at our softer bits. Today, the only thing new people are likely to toss our way are some interesting curse words we can use to impress our friends. Fear of something like the aethers? Well, it's as natural as nipples, but nearly as vestigial as the male variety. And when one abandons certain fears and assumptions, an entire world opens up. So it's like a book that doesn't take itself too seriously. There are some like moments of kind of he's teasing about himself as a writer.
He's totally self-aware.
But if you're looking for definitely a book to read with your kids for sure. But it is kind of like a classic swashbuckling
Yeah.
adventure.
Pirates.
There's pirates and different characters
some
come on.
interesting intrigue.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's goofy. The world building is sound.
Yeah. Where would you put this on your shelf?
Obviously, I've said it before. This is a shelf of books to read to your kids.
Yeah. That's my same shelf would be. I'm sad I already read it. Otherwise, I would have slipped it right there. I probably will still. This is a good one to have and to go through when we read with our kids.
No, safe content,
Yeah.
fun stuff.
But yeah, so Tress of the Emerald Sea, Brandon Sanderson.
You've been Proofread. Energy, excitement, positivity,
Zest.
empowering, warm, useful. Zest.
Zest.
Okay.
Proofread is a production of BYU Radio and is produced by Jeff Simpson with help from Erica Price, Becca Hurley, and Lisa Valentine Clark. Find us on YouTube at Proofread Podcast for video clips and more. And please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks for spending your time with us today, and happy reading.